Got it. Click.
All right.
So it says discuss why it is important to consider these three levels when working with young learners. Choose one level and describe how you assess the students in that level.
For myself, because I work with preschool children, I do not have any independent readers. I don't have any that fall in the instructional, unless it counts for, I would say I have non-instructional, I would say frustration level. And it's not very often that this happens, that I have one or two children in my class right before kindergarten, they're doing emergent reading. So they can piece together some of the words and kind of sound them out. So in my classroom, I really don't get a lot of this. Would you say choose one level and describe how you assess?
I was gonna say we can choose one level and then we can just answer all of the questions all together.
Okay.
Because I think we're all doing, I think none of us have independent readers. Well, at least not a lot of us. I think Emily said she might have one.
I might have one, but he doesn't really comprehend it. So I would still probably
Yeah.
say he's in instructional because he's reading, but he's not like really understanding what he's reading. And then I would say I have a frustration level too with my kids.
Yeah, my class is at frustration level.
Yeah. I guess a way that like we would assess, or are you still talking to? I didn't mean to cut you guys off.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like a way we could assess like the kids too would just be like, or how we would assess the kids, I guess, is like kind of choosing like appropriate like age level materials that we think would work with the child. So like if they're at the frustration level, you know, we're not going to give them like a really hard book to read or like a chapter book because it's not like appropriate. So choosing, I guess, like a book or an activity or a lesson that is appropriate for the child. So maybe choosing, like, even with my kids now, we're learning just like basic letter sounds. And then like some of them are learning like basic words. So choosing what's appropriate. So like a short story would be appropriate. And then just assessing like how well they know the words. So like, what are the words that they're supposed to know? Like the, me, or like, or, and seeing like, you know, if they know it or not.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. We like have like mini books and it's all like the same patterned reading. It's like I see whatever it is. And then it always has like a theme. So like we did gingerbread shapes. So it was gingerbread men that had different shapes in their stomach. And the story goes, I see a red heart, which it has like is on the gingerbread. So then all we literally do is like the pointing while we read. We just have them kind of like go through and like we review all the words first so they know it. And then like we just go through and read it. That's really the only thing that we do. Besides like other little things, but that's like our main, the book reading.
So I'm going to piggyback off of all of you. And I'm also working with preschool, as you guys know. So like right now, I do feel like the group I have is pretty, like they're probably ready to start reading. Like I feel like they're a little excelled. However, like right now we're going over like parts of a book, like where's the cover? What is an author? What are characters? We also have started doing like small sentences with some sight words where they can also point, like you said, Marissa, they can point, they count how many words are in the sentence, and they point to what word they're reading. So I feel like that also helps in getting them prepared, you know, for the next steps.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say about the sight words. So like I think that you was, you know, just go over, sit down with them and see how many sight words they are capable of recognizing. Because that would kind of tell you too where they are in reading. Because if they can get through the sight words, the ones that you know that they expect them to know automatically without, you know, hesitation, then you can kind of figure out, okay, well maybe they are ready for it's a little bit harder word.
Right.
For my twos, we don't do anything when it comes to really reading. We're still
Right.
working on name identification. So I've started doing games where I write their names and then we try to match it to their picture. It's more so it's definitely the frustrational level. Um, and we more so do picture books than anything else. Some of our picture books don't even have words, but those are the ones that my kids like because they're making up
Mhm.
what they can for words for that
Mhm.
story. So
Yeah. The next question is, how do effective teachers organize for literacy instruction? Give examples. In what ways do effective teachers of literacy scaffold children's reading and writing development? Why is it important to their early literacy development? Um, literacy instruction.
I think the
for me,
number
I
one
utilize
thing-
my library. So I
Yeah.
go to the public library and I make sure to get a book that's pertaining to the theme of the week, but something also that I think the kids would catch an eye on. So either a popular character that they like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
or just like a pop-up book that
Mhm.
grabs their eye and their attention. I think by getting them interested in opening the book, that's the hardest thing. And then once the book is open, keeping them engaged by doing different voices, and that'll help promote the longevity of their literacy.
Yeah, we have a library in our classroom that we focus on, and we change out the books I think every week, actually. I do that. I change out the books. So it's a new rotation of books. And then we have reading and writing development. We have so that's our like reading center, and then we have a writing center. So it has like pencils, paper, scissors, sometimes all that stuff. So they're like able to write. Plus we have like different worksheets where they're like writing, but it's like fun. So yeah.
So
And
for my
so with me-
library, I like to do interactive books.
Mhm.
I have a lot of younger threes. So they don't do a lot of literacy before they come to us.
Mhm.
And I find that a lot of the kids that come into my classroom, they've never been in school before. Even if they come in at 4 and 5, they've never been in school or daycare before. So it's different for them. So I try to, number one, know the levels of my children,
Mhm.
and then really think about that before I put books in the library to make sure that they are developmentally appropriate for them. I try to make them interactive, repetitive. I oftentimes on my lesson plans, for my read aloud part, typically I will not put in a title of a book. I always put kids' choice, and we will pull 2 books off the shelf, and then we will vote for which book. Um, and then and I just think with scaffolding, with the reading and the writing, I also have a writing center. And something that we like to do are those repetitive books like Brown Bear, What Do You See?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to find some things on Teachers Pay Teachers, and we make our own classroom books based off of some of our favorite books. So we have
That's
one that's
fun.
called Preschooler, What Do You See? So then the children are able to draw their own picture, and then they're able to fill in the blank, like, what is it that we're seeing on this page? And then we laminate them and we add those into our library, so they have those to go back and look on. And then in the writing center, we just made a book that has a picture of every child, that has their name, first and last name, their age, telephone number, address, just to have that available. So they can go back and forth with that. And I think it's important to early literacy development, because you need that in order to develop in other areas to go forward.
Yeah.
Plus literacy is all around, like no matter what you do, where you are, you're always going to see stuff, whether it's signs, books, like anything. There's always going to be something where you're like reading and like kind of figuring out that that's words. So like that's why it's so important, because it's just all around us, and you
Right.
start learning that stuff when you're young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I have two bulletin boards, one in each classroom. And it says we can read, and it's an environmental print wall. So what I did is I asked the parents through our class dojo if when they're done with like food boxes and cereal boxes, if they could just bring them in. And then I
Mhm.
cut off the front of that and then we put them on the wall. Because my kids can look at that and say, oh, well, that's Captain Crunch or that's macaroni and cheese. So even though they might not be reading that word, like they know that that's what that is, but eventually they're going to be able to read the letters that are on there. So I have a lot of environmental print around the classroom.
Isn't that crazy how kids know
That's-
brands nowadays?
Yeah.
Like
That's funny.
Target, Walmart, they know the mark of it
Yeah.
Right.
and are able to like say it. My daughter did that at a young age, like Target. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, because
Symbols,
she the
print
bullseye.
rich, print rich.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like Nike because it's just the symbol,
Mhm.
you know, just I don't know. I think that's wild.
And the last thing that we put in, I just started doing this a couple weeks ago. So I have cameras, those Polaroid ones that shoot out the little pictures.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I have those available in my writing center. And the kids can go and they can take pictures with it. And then they
Fun.
have a journal that they can come back with and they can they can just paste it right in there. And then they can write about what they took a picture of, or they can draw about it. And it's called photo narration. It's
Oh,
another
okay.
form of literacy.
That's cool.
So I learned that at a training and that has been a big hit in my classroom.
That's so cool. You guys have such like good ideas. Like that's
You
awesome.
know, I'm like, am I a horrible teacher? Because I'm not creative like that.
I got pictures.
I
you
learned
guys
it
have
at a
really good
training.
ideas.
I'm taking notes because I will be doing this.
I know, I am But I agree with all you guys. I think like you said, like making the environment like exciting or something that they like is definitely like intriguing. We actually do like songs a lot too. And that kind of gets kids' attentions and just even like because some of our kids are even just like learning letters. So we do like letters with them too, and we'll do like the Jolly Phonics songs. And then a lot of times too, to like help scaffold a child's reading and writing, like I'll either show them how to write something or I'll read something first and then we'll read it together and then the child will read it on their own. So it's first with the teacher, or no, sorry, first me, then with the teacher, and then they do it on their own. And then writing the same thing, like I show them how to do it and then like they practice and like we do it together and then eventually like they do it. And like, yeah, I would agree. Early literacy development is just important because you need it for everyday life. I mean, you're always going to be reading and you're going to be using it anywhere and you go. Like reading and math are really
Yeah.
essential to, I feel like anything. So
Yes.
yeah.
But I know in my classroom, I have the writer's center as well. But I do want to put more things in my writing center because right now they have a daily sign-in book, which I'm really not a fan of because most of the kids, for me, it's the hassle of having to remind them to go over and sign into this book. And then most of them are still scribbling. So they really have no interest in it. And I think that's why most of them are scribbling because they have no interest in this sign-in book at all.
Yeah.
It's like they could care less about this book. But my education coordinator is having a fit about the sign-in book. So some of the older ones who are like 4 and the ones who are older, like have like one new 4-year-old. Well, yeah, will she be 4? No, she'll be 4 on December 31st. And then I have one that's older 4, and I have one that's going to kindergarten. They're the ones, my older, the new 4s and like the ones that are older, they are the ones that are able to kind of make more letters in regards to their name. So when they're over there, I try to go over there and encourage them. And the one little girl, her birthday this on the 31st, she actually was able to make the W for her last name Williams, and she was so excited.
Uh-huh.
She was so,
Nice.
she got really excited about that. And what I do is when we do our morning meeting, we say our alphabets, but then I made up this song about, there's a friend in our room and the name begins with the letter A. And then they're like, Akayla. So, they're recognizing that their friend's name begins with those letters because when I first started doing the alphabet with them, none of them knew the first letter of their first name. So now they can, when we do that, they recognize it, and they know their friends, the first letter of their friend's name as well. So I kind of try to do that. And even when we're doing with TSG, when they have the shared writings, the discussion questions and shared writings, I always make a point of writing their name next to what it is that they said. And then I go back, after I finish, I go back over and I read with everybody's name and what they said. And is now when I start writing it, they're coming like, they're like, Miss Carmen, that's my name right there. I'm like, yes, that is your name. So
You guys have such
just
good
like-
ideas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was like, that's such a good idea.
And that's exciting for them because it's like, that's my name. I do stuff like letting them pick out what color marker we're gonna use that day, and when we're doing stories, yesterday we did Little Red Riding Hood, and they were just going crazy listening to Little Red Riding Hood and and filling in what they think was gonna happen next. So
I'm gonna share my screen. This is something else I just started doing with my kids. This is one of my 4-year-olds. So what I did is I wrote this on paper first,
mm-hmm.
and then he just copied it over.
Okay.
So I have him for our centers. He's a older 4, almost 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have this little guy is a new 4, and he is obsessed with learning. And he did the block center and the 4 friends.
Oh wow, he did a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He did
So-
a real good job.
So that's something I've been working on with them to just make the classroom have more of their handwriting in it versus
Mhm.
ours, or just going and getting a label maker.
Right.
Because I feel like they pay more attention to it, because now with having the signs up, they're stopping and they're counting the people on it and saying, nope, there's already 3 people here, so now I need to go somewhere else until somebody comes out, which is
Mhm.
exactly what I needed them to do. But I
Mhm.
think it's more meaningful to them because it's something that they are making in the classroom.
Right.
So did we answer all of the questions?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.